China just surrendered on 3 big fronts, but the headlines were silent. Why? Because if people in America knew how close we were to an economic crash, you'd have panic in the markets in America. We just entered the most important 90-day window in US-China trade history. And influencers are more talking about, TikTok videos than focusing on this Asia, United States, massive economic trade Super Bowl. So the big question is, are you ready if China actually wins? Or are you stuck with 100% of your investments in America right before a slowdown? So let's back this up. On April 2nd, under America First policy, Trump gave a 34% tariff on China, right? Beijing hit back hard. Not just with tariffs, they pulled that nuke option. Non-tariff barriers, right? Basically de facto trade embargo. They weren't just raising prices. They were cutting off the flow of our US goods, and the markets obviously panicked. Tariffs escalated to 125%, basically on both sides. It was essentially a soft economic war. But then something unusual came about. China hesitated, not once, but 3 times. And so there were 3 concessions, write this down. The first concession was the tariffs went up to 115%, they brought it down to 10%, which was the exact match the US offered. And that was the first time in years we actually had parity. Concession number 2 was they agreed to remove all those non-tariff barriers, basically lifting the embargo. So it was like flipping the trade switch back overnight. And the third concession was they sent their deputy minister of public finance to talk about Finitol at the negotiation table. Now that's not routine, that was pretty rare. And our government was like sort of surprised by that. So here's my point. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, he said, hey, look, we got 75 countries right now in line waiting, for the best offers on the table. China conceded. They're not seeing CNN. They're seeing the supply chains. So why is this important for you? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because while the public is distracted, the capital is moving to Asia. And I believe that the next asymmetric opportunity is coming from that region that America is scared of the most, China. I get it. Maybe you're thinking, but isn't this too risky to invest in China? Yeah, but having 100% of your money in a country nearing recession, that's pretty risky. You need a plan B. The U.S. is on edge. We need buyers for our debt. Inflation is still sticky. The Fed is cornered, and China, for all its flaws, just reset the board. They're pumping cheap goods, basically, in our country. Their central bank is easy. And their top 100 companies are trading at discounts that make Amazon in 2011 look expensive. You don't have to love China, but you do have to protect yourself, right? And step 1 is understanding what's actually going on. So if you're a day trader or just someone trying not to get wiped out by this, we've built a community since 2021 for you. If you go to my profile, I got a free Asian markets report waiting for you. I'm not promising you overnight profits, but I will give you an intelligence briefing. Hopefully you see before it's too late. So if you're seeing your savings shrink, if your 401k is flatlined, or you've missed every breakout since the lockdown, this is maybe your second shot. But you got a window. The clock is ticking on this 90-day deal. And if you wait until everyone else believes it, you're basically, at that point, paying premium prices, right? So click the link, grab the report, and start seeing what the forward thinker are. Because if it's, a great rotation coming, you don't want to have a situation where you're the last one in the room still betting everything on the US dollar.